This is a session on musical biographies, so why not start with a little bit of music?
I'm going to sing, and Anirudha, you're going to sing with me. Chhod do aachal, zamana kya kahega. Oh, ho, come on. Come on, sing. Audience, sing.
हा इन अदाओं का जमाना भी है दीवाना दीवाना क्या कहेगा
हो छोड़ दो आंचल जमाना क्या कहेगा. Okay.
That's a nice
Over to you, Balaji.
Okay. Okay. You ready?
The fun part is that Kishore Kumar sang that song with Asha ji and S.D. Burman made the music. So it's all linked up, huh? We are not talking in the air.
Yeah, talking about S.D. Burman and his son R.D. Burman and Jagjit Singh and everyone that you have written the books about. How come nobody thought of writing these biographies earlier than when you guys actually did? I mean, why so much of lag? What do you think? Maybe we'll start with you, Sathya.
Well, in my case, I wrote the book on Guru Dutt, and somebody read it and said, we have a fan club of S.D. Burman, and will you write, we will give you whatever clippings we have and interviews you have, and will you write? Now somebody is giving you a thali, serving you a thali, why won't I eat? I ate.
Okay, that's how it came about. On to the book on R.D., S.D., see, it happened after 17 years of R.D. passing, and S.D. in that case it was even longer, about 40 years after his passing. What do you think took so much of time? Hadn't anyone thought about it earlier, that these are strong subjects?
How would I know? They must have, but I think I was too young when they died to write a book. Okay, S.D. died when I was 12 years old. So not really the right time to write a bio. I believe you would agree. Rahul Dev Burman had started to write long back. I think it happened in 1999.
Yeah,
somehow it did not come to fruition, and I restarted it in 2008.
So what surprises me is there were so many well-known journalists those days, right? Even in the 70s, even when we were in college, there were many well-known journalists. I thought some of them, one of them at least, would have had an idea of, writing this book. Anyway, that's... Now, in the case of Jagjit Singh, Sathya, the sort of success he met in 1980s, that itself would have warranted a biography in the 90s. And maybe even he didn't think of it. So it is something like people write a biography or an autobiography when they're at the fag end of their career. They feel everything is done and dusted. Ab kuch karne ka nahi, ab kitab likhte hain.
No, Balaji, there was a book on Jagjit Singh called Beyond Time. It was written with it was just series of interviews with Jagjit, with Chitra, with his father, with his brother. I sourced from the book for this book. I have acknowledged Jagjit's interviews because in my case, unfortunately, people come to me after the person dies and says, please write a book on him. So I have no luxury of interviewing that person. But there was a book written on Jagjit, and in the case of S.D. Burman, he wrote his own autobiography.
Yeah, right. It was
a
very
abridged version, but I
version.
used that also in my...
Excellent. Now tell us a little bit about how your research went for Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia's book and Jagjit Singh. Had you met Jagjit Singh when he was alive? Because you wrote the book 4 years after he passed.
Yeah. No, I met Jagjit Singh twice during his lifetime, and once it was after a very sad episode of his losing his son in an accident, and I was one of the 2 journalists that the family trusted, because they said you don't sensationalize, so they gave Femina the story of what they felt and what they thought was the truth behind the boy's death, because media was speculating he was drunk, he was on drugs, he had done this, he had done that, and they gave me the real story to tell. So I had met him, and we had also done a cover story in Femina on the ghazal singers, all of them. Rajendra Neena Mehta, Vittal and Bhupinder. We had done a story with all of them on the cover, so I had met him.
Excellent. And Pandit Hariji, I know we did the session together in Kolkata. So tell us something about how your sitting sessions with him went.
Pandit Hariji, it's like trying to catch sunshine in your hand. He is here today, exactly. He's coming tomorrow to Hyderabad to go to Kanha because he's performing. Day after he's going to Delhi where he's performing. The day after that he's going to Bombay for 2 days, he will rest, then he goes to Brindavan. He goes to Bhubaneswar where he has his Gurukul. So you can't catch him. Very difficult to catch him. But the fact was that I decided if mountain won't come to Muhammad, Muhammad will go to the mountain. Ulta. So I went and sat in Bhubaneswar in his Gurukul and said, "Ab main kya karoge? Ab interview doge ki main yahi dharna karu?" So he gave me 4 days of interview.
Good. Excellent. Yeah, I think that deserves a big applause. Let's come to Anirudha and Parthiv. Tell us about your most recent book, the one that you have out here, Kishore Kumar, The Ultimate Biography. What sort of research went into it? He was a very reticent man. He wouldn't speak to anyone.
Yeah, Kishore, like...
Mike. Can you hear Parthiv? Is he audible? No, you're not.
Yeah, this book is actually... This book is actually built on research. Normally you write books in 2 ways. You have information and you write a book on that. On the other side, you visualize writing a book and then you choose the structure and then you, in the search of those structures, you carry and you find out the information. So we have adopted the second method. That's why it took us almost 20 years. So, for example, emergency. We knew Kishore Kumar had a tryst with emergency. Everything was very shallow and hollow nowhere. So we knew we had to get that emergency chapter in the book. And that itself took us 2 years. So, and going further into the research, it all started with 2010. 2010, a visit to Khandwa, where we met his school friends, his childhood friends. Ironically, none of them were musically inclined. And then we came to know about his college days, his college friends. We met his principal. We collected a lot of documents. And we dispelled a lot of myths. Yeah, we can show the documents. Right? And because of this research, a lot of myths have been dispelled. For example, you see the internet, everywhere it is saying that he was known as Abhas Kumar Ganguly, and later on he became Kishore Kumar Ganguly. So these are the things which needed to break the
dispelled. Yeah, absolutely.
Madhubala story. Yeah, Madhubala story and all those things. And then it's also a fact that had there not be a Professor Moses in Christian College Indore, we would not have seen Kishore Kumar because he got drowned in Indore. It was Professor Moses who saved him. Yeah. So we had a talk with the principal, and then the research got us to Bombay also, where we had met Abdul and his Man Friday to visit.
Just tell people who Abdul was.
Abdul was Kishore Kumar's
Abdul Chacha.
Man Friday, actually. He started off as a driver, then he became his secretary come driver. And he was all throughout in...
Started as the driver...
Things and things.
Yeah. I believe all of you have seen the film Chalti Ka Naam Gadi, right? So there was somebody driving the car, which was not shown on the screen. Yeah. So
he was beneath the car.
Almost in supine position.
Who was driving the car? No, that's what you see.
Yeah, like film is all make believe, right? So actually, Abdul was driving the car. Yes.
You remember the scene where the car goes round and round on the road? There's no driver. There was a driver.
No. So
he was underneath.
Abdul joined Kishore Saab in 57 and he left in 1980. So a strong, like the strongest bonding of male kind of a bonding, except the liquor part. Kishore did not drink for 23 years. So Abdul knew him inside out.
I want to say to everybody here who's present that these books, which I've read your book, Kishore Kumar book, I've read all your books, okay? And I like the Kishore Kumar book because what it does is it blows the myths. You know, people love to sensationalize about all these people. Guru Dutt's death. Was it murder? Was it suicide? Here is the real story about how he died, why he died. Was it Wahida who threw out Guru Dutt? No, it wasn't so. It's all different. So this is, I think what we have all done is try to find the truth.
See, we call it musical biographies, but believe me, these are storybooks. What you see out here, what you see with these authors, and even the one that is not the R.D. Burman, the man, the music, they're all storybooks. We shouldn't get daunted by the fact that there's going to be a lot of notations or musical stuff, analytical stuff out here. No, it's not that. These make for very interesting reading. I think it's important to know the background of the musicians whose music we love so much. For example, Sathya, I can come to your case and say, Pandit Hariji, he got onto a train without a ticket and then he reached somewhere, he came back. So maybe can you talk a little bit about it, how his first journey went? Yeah, he was not Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia.
No, he was 12 years old and he wanted to sing playback.
One sec. Which sport was Hari, the young Hari, who later became Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia? He used to practice a sport. Sorry, I heard, huh? Yeah. Absolutely.
He was a wrestler's son. S.D. Burman was a prince. So everybody had a different life than the one they chose. But Hariji, when he was 12 years old, along with a singer who was his friend, they ran away. They went ticketless onto a train to come to Bombay from Allahabad. Or Hariji says, बीच में मुझे पकड़ लिया टिकट वाले ने, दोनों को उतार दिया तो मैं नहीं चढ़ पाया, वो चढ़ गया. And he said, मुझे वो स्टेशन में मिलो, फिर वहाँ से हम जाएंगे. So he continued, he says, I got the next train, I got off at that station, we met, we got on, and we went to Bombay. And in Bombay, of course, you think somebody is going to give them space or entry into a studio? No. तो वो मंदिर में बैठ के भजन गाया 2 दिन, खाना मिला, इसने फ्लूट बजाया, उसने गाया, they had their food and then they said चलो यार घर चलते हैं, फिर without ticket they came home. That was it. That was their first adventure in Bombay.
Yeah, many stories like this. For example, Pandit Hariji. Okay, let's talk about Jagjit Singh. Any interesting story you can talk about Jagjit Singh's background? Anything that you want to narrate?
Yes, in college they used to call him the punishment room. They gave him the room next to the bathroom. Because they said, ये सुबह 4 बजे उठ के रियाज करता है. We don't allow us to sleep. So they would call it the punishment room, whoever was next to him. And they would start banging on the door, कि चुप कर, you know. And he would say, जा bathroom में बंद हो जाओ. You know, and Subhash Ghai has told stories about him. Yeah. There are amazing stories about him.
You mean his voice was so bad to start with?
No, it's just that he woke everybody up.
Okay. I mean, that's a pretty nice way to be woken up, right? Listening to Jagjit Singh ghazals. I don't know why they couldn't.
He wasn't singing ghazals then, he was singing classical then.
Same with Kishore Kumar, right? He didn't have a very good voice at all when he was born. Anirudha, can you... you can go.
Yeah, Kishore Kumar, as per Ashok Kumar, had a very hoarse voice. And there are 2 theories floating around. One that he had a excruciating pain in the jaw. And second is that he went to see the kitchen where his mother was dressing up the vegetables, and his fingers got cut, and it just almost got shredded up into 2 pieces. And as per Ashok Kumar, that finger is still kept in Khandwa. So this our boy Kishu, he was known at that time, he cried and cried for almost 1 month. And after that, the pain on one hand subsided, and the voice on one hand grew. And that was... So it was 1 month of crying, and rest is history.
Which was the only creature or animal that R.D. Burman was scared of? He wasn't even scared of the snake. Not even when a serpent wound round his leg in Gopalpur on sea, उससे भी डर नहीं लगा उसको. He was only Chipkali. house lizard. He was dead scared of that. So there are stories like this. Sathya, tell me, the discerning reader would also like to know a little bit about the musical technicalities. Not too much, but at least something about the raga, tal, beat, or whatever. No? The books that you have authored on musicians, they're very different. S.D. Burman kaha, Jagjit Singh kaha, Pandit Hariji, all very different yet connected in some way. But so how did you manage to get the technical part of the music in, given that they were so diverse from each other?
I didn't. I did not write technical stuff because when I went to Hariji and he said, you write the book, I said, I know nothing. I don't know rags. I sing. God help everybody who listens, but I sing. But I don't know anything about rags and all. So he said, मुझे राग वाग का नहीं करना है. मेरे बारे में लिखो. As a human being, you write me. So I have recreated scenes from movies in this and talked about how they were filmed. I have recreated stories about how Hariji created a rag for Shiv Kumar Sharma when he saw him sitting in the audience in Europe. He suddenly saw him sitting there and he said, मैं एक नया राग आपके लिए अभी बना रहा हूँ. But that is the technical, where it stops. They are stories of human beings. They are good points, they are bad points, they are beautiful stories, they are sad stories. And how they were all dedicated to music. I mean, each one of the people we have written about gave their life for music.
Right. Coming to your point, now you are very different. You are a musician yourself. You are a guitarist. You are a singer. Now you choose to bring in a fair amount of technical details that doesn't bog down the reader. It sort of enriches the narrative, just the way that we would read a Robin Cook or a John Grisham book. I mean, we are not medical practitioners, we are not lawyers, but when we read those, we feel enriched. So tell us a little bit about how you bring in the technical aspect of music into your biographies.
Look, what I did was to unlearn. Number one, unlearn and then relearn. See, for example, in the case of the Panchimda book, I knew guitar, but I started learning the guitar. I had never learned the guitar formally as such, so I came to know about many scales, etc. And it helps. Scale सीखते अरे तो इस गाने के साथ ये it's so similar. Like similarly, when I was writing the book on his father, I bought a set of your Sangeet, classical Sangeet books. They started reading up. I was extremely happy to discover that I knew most of it without learning anything. So that is what like years of listening does to you.
Yes, because it's a process of self-learning. When you're now listening to those music, when you're writing this book, it suddenly sounds new and different and fresh to you. For example, we were traveling in an auto rickshaw in CR Park, Delhi, sometime in early 2009, and suddenly Anirudha asked me this question, Balaji, this चिंगारी कोई भड़के, उसके सामने जो उसके आगे जो chords है, that is very similar to the song in Sholay. कोई हसीना जब रूठ जाती है. Very similar. Now we hadn't. Now we had heard both the songs. We hadn't listened to it from this aspect. But when you get down to writing a book, you get deeper into it.
Actually, Balaji, when I was doing Jagjit Singh, it took me about a year to do the research because I had to take time from Chitra ji. She was hesitant in the beginning. She was very difficult. Then I had to meet all her other people. So it took me a year, but that whole year, I only heard Jagjit Singh. I didn't. Same with Hariji. I went to all his concerts. I listened to all his music. Call of the Valley was constantly playing in my, on my YouTube channel. So this is something, and I watched all of Guru Dutt's films before I even started writing the book. Though Abrar Sahab told me stories from behind the scenes. You know, I mean, it'll be amazing. This story I must hint at.
Sure.
Abrar Sahab said Wahida Ji was discovered in Hyderabad by Guru Dutt because of a buffalo. If there was no buffalo, there was no Wahida in Pyasa or CID. I'm not going to tell you the story, but these are the kind of stories he told us. But I still watched the film. I still watched every single film twice so that I could write and understand what he was saying.
Excellent. Why does one go for honeymoon usually? On a slightly unrelated topic. Where would you go? I mean, if you were to get married again or married, where would you go for honeymoon? Take a pick.
Come on, audience.
Put your pin anywhere in the map on the world. Huh? Nainital. Okay. Any other choices? Goa, Switzerland, Kashmir, Kunur, Ooty. Now over to Parthiv. Where does one go for honeymoon? Where does a Kishore Kumar fan go for honeymoon?
Yeah, got it right. We went to Khandwa, and I mean, I could manage to convince her to go to Khandwa. We had a rollicking time. We met all the friends, and most interesting part is that for those who don't know, Khandwa is the birthplace of Kishore Kumar, and Khandwa is the place which is deep rooted. I am yet to find a place in the world which is so focused and so centric on only one person.
You see,
Khandwa is to Kishore what Jerusalem is to Christ.
We have so many singers worldwide. Okay. Do you know where Lata Mangeshkar was born? No, she was born in Indore. You don't know, right? Do you know where Ashaji was born? For that matter, Jagjit Singh was born. For that matter, Lennon was born. You normally don't. But Khandwa, despite being a place nobody knows, all know Khandwa. Well, Kishore Kumar came from Khandwa.
His biggest contribution was to put Khandwa in the international map.
Because people tend to remember eccentric more than normal guys. That's a given.
He would always say Kishore Kumar Khandwa wale. So,
No, he also pushed it quite a lot, no? He attached Khandwa to his name like a nomenclature.
yeah.
His signature song, ekdam starting of every show, live show.
Acha, acha.
Am I?
Look,
He used to start every live show.
he used to start a show like this.
Nice.
अरे प्यारे बंधुओं, संगीत प्रेमियों,
अरे वाह.
आप सबको किशोर कुमार का सप्रेम नमस्कार. तो there are times you would say, आप सबको किशोर कुमार खंडवे वाले का सप्रेम नमस्कार. अरे हम जो यहाँ आए हैं, हम जो यहाँ आए हैं, वो आपकी प्यार है, दुलार है, सत्कार है. और ज्यादा वक्त न लेते हुए किशोर कुमार खंडवे वाला गाने को तैयार है.
Lovely.
Just wanted to relate one anecdote which will give you an idea of what Khandwa meant to Kishore Kumar. Kishore Kumar had his first heart attack in the year 1981. And in 1982, there was a show at Khandwa. And Kishore Kumar dragged his childhood friends from the front row to the stage. Said, come sing with me. And Leena Chandavarkar that's narrated to me by the person who was there. And Leena Chandrabarkar was saying that, Kishore, you have just survived a heart attack. The way you were dancing and you were catapulting, the somersaulting, please take care of your health. And Kishore Kumar was saying that with all seriousness, that if I die, I will die here in front of my friends in Khandwa. And he was serious. He did not breathe an inch and he was in full throttle. So that was Khandwa, what his friends and all, what Khandwa meant to him actually.
Can I tell
Sure,
an anecdote of S.D. Burman?
Oh yes, of course.
Okay, now this is an imaginary anecdote, but it is a real story. Okay, so I have imagined that S.D. Burman is sitting on his bed at night after a day's work, and he's eating his pan. He was very fond of his pan. He would not share it with anybody. So he was eating his pan, and he's thinking to himself, कि आज बात क्या है? इतना अच्छा खाना क्यों बनाया मीरा ने? Anniversary है क्या? You know, every man's fear is you forget anniversary. So whole year you have to पछताओ. तो आज anniversary है क्या? नहीं, आज तो anniversary नहीं है. क्या बात है? He said, होगा, mood अच्छा होगा. So he's eating his pan. Meera comes and sits on the bed and she says, Shuno? And he says, here it comes. So she says, you are going to do Devdas? So he says, yes. I have been asked to do Devdas by Bimal Roy. बोले तुम कितना पिक्चर किया इतने दिन में? बोले I have done this. He says, बहुत किया, ज़्यादा किया. इतना मत करो. You have spread. Have you got any hit from all these movies? नहीं. So stop doing so many movies. Devdas is a big team. Bimal Roy is competing with his guru. You are competing with your guru, R.C. Boral. So don't do anything light with it. Give it your full attention. And that is what he does. He creates 10 songs for Devdas, and for the rest of his life, he doesn't take more than 4 films in a year.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Thanks to Meera. So I've created this scene, but the truth is that it happened. Maybe not necessarily on the bed, but it happened.
Let me. Do you know the genre of pan which SD used to eat? Meetha patti pan.
Meetha patti pan. And Gurudat Abrar was the only one he would share it with, and Lata Mangeshkar.
Oh, he did share his pan with Kishore Kumar also.
No, there's one book which connects both of you about S.D. Burman. Two very different biographies written in very different styles, right? Can you put both the books up for to show to the people? They say that
4 more biographies. He's so varied.
They say that if you write 2 books on the same topic, it becomes stale. That is not the case out here. You can read both the books and you'll get a very different flavor from each of the books. That's the beauty of both the books.
Sathya, I have a question. You mentioned that he was a prince.
Sorry?
S.D. Burman was a prince. What was
Tripura. But you have to read the book. I'm not going to tell you.
What we'll do is, sir, we took this question. We'll come to the questions, sir. We have about 10 minutes for the questions. Not a problem. Do books do tango? For example, with Kishore Kumar coming out, I thought R.D. Burman books got a chin up. Did the same thing happen when, Hariji's book came out? Did the S.D. Burman sort of also add to the sales or whatever? Did you see any trend like that? Or nothing?
No, but what I saw after I wrote these 4 books was that all their lives were linked. S.D. Burman worked with Gurudat. S.D. Burman worked with Hari Prasad Chaurasia. Jagjit Singh worked with Hari Prasad Chaurasia. So they were all linked. And they all met without knowing that they had met at the Talkatora Stadium as students. Hariji was the only one who had gone there to accompany a dancer as a flautist. He was not a college student, he had finished his college. But the others, along with Subhash Ghai, Amjad Khan, they were all at Talkatora Stadium. And Jagjit and Amjad Khan became friends.
Yeah.
But Jagjit and Hari met after 10 years. They never even knew they were there together.
See, all these musicians are humans as well. So they had human relationships, they had human associates. Some very interesting stories are here. Anirudha, you can talk about the Sahir S.D. Burman painful breakup and a little bit about that and how Majru came in later. And then we can go to Shiv Kumar Sharma as well.
Let's not talk about like sad stories. Let me tell you all a
Funny story.
funny story.
Sure.
It is beyond doubt that SD was a very nice man, but he was also a hardcore conjure. That's for sure, because I know my father, he was a student of SD for 6 months. He stayed 500 meters from our Thakuria house. So, there's a story narrated by Salil Chaudhary that one day SD and Salil they were going by taxi from Mumbai to, I think, some nearby town. And SD said, Sholil, 50-50 kintu. We'll divide the money 50-50. Dada. So they got into the car, and once they reached the place, the fare was exactly 50 rupees, 50 paisa. SD Burman took out the 50 paisa, surely here's my 50.
No, but Gurudat tells another Kanju story. चना खाओ नहीं भुट्टा खाओ. He says, Abrar Sahab says कि हम लोग जाते थे प्यासा के म्यूजिक के लिए सेशन चलता था, बैठते थे तो पहले तो पूछता था खा के आया ना, मैं अभी खा के आता हूँ. He'll go behind the curtain, eat his food and come. Then one day he says सेशन बहुत लंबा चला, वो बात करते रहे, उनके बीच में कोई आया गया तो फिर गुरु तक से चुप नहीं बैठा गया. बोले दादा भूख लग रही है. भूख लग रही है, अब भी करता हूँ. ए लड़के इधर आ. Gave him 10 paisa. नीचे भुट्टा वाला है ना, 2 भुट्टा ला दो. And he gave them 2 bhuttas to eat. So he was, and then he used to take a cycle. He used to take a backseat cycle ride to the station कि मैं क्यों अपना गाड़ी लेके जाऊँ. ये तो जा रहा है साइकिल से, मुझे पीछे बैठा के ले जाओ.
SD after a lot of persuasion bought a car. Till then, he would not buy a car because he had a monthly train, monthly ticket. No, let it finish first. Next, he bought a car and he started driving. So he used to go for morning walks to Jew at around 5:30 in the morning, Sunsan Rasta. But while doing a back gear, he always had his horn on. So one day, this happened in front of Kishore Kumar's house. Kishore Das said, Dada, रास्ता तो खाली है, आप हॉर्न क्यों मार रहे हैं? नहीं, ये नियम है.
You know, there are funny stories, and then there is a ghost story as well. Maryland's apartment, Santa Cruz, the house of the last place where who lived before he passed away in 1994, 4th Jan. R.D. Burman. I went to the parking lot. I asked them, ये क्या पंचमदा की गाड़ी वाला? हाँ, ये पंचमदा की गाड़ी, BMC 1139. मैं बैठ सकता हूँ इस पे? बोला हाँ बैठिए. And it was open. I don't know why nobody had locked it. I'm just wonder. So anyway, I sat in it, took a picture, and then I said, मैं ऊपर जा सकता? बोला हाँ, first floor में ऊपर जाइए. When I walked in, at the end of the corridor, okay, I could see a ebony colored door, wood panel door, and a brass plate saying R.D. Burman. Some light was, it was a dark corridor, and some light was bouncing off that brass plate and gave it an eerie look. The ebony brown wood and the brass lettering out there saying R.D. Burman, something drew me closer to the door. I know that there's going to be nobody there. It was next to the lift. I somehow knocked on the door. I don't know why. I knocked on the door and then I knocked again. I was imagining I could hear shuffling of footsteps inside. Maybe someone will come and open the door. It was my imagination working overtime. But when you get inside a book, the book also gets inside you. So there are those experiences as well.
He was imagining, but suddenly he heard Pancham saying, hey, hey,
how much of help did you get from the Ganguly family while writing this Kishore Kumar book?
Yeah, before I start replying to your question, I would like to take a cue from what Madam has told that this biography was held in mind as Kishore Kumar the person. Okay. So like you have a biography of Donald Bradman. Here also you see 80% of the book is focused on struggles. So in this book also we have focused almost up to 360 pages pre-Aradhana days, the kind of struggle this person had, and that is why the person who helped us a lot were a part of those period where he struggled. Unfortunately, the family today was not a part of that period. So we had a detailed inputs from the person present, including his friends, his college mates, person who were his directors, his producers, and of course during the time of his death. The death chapter is absolutely the handiwork of Leenaji. And Amit Kumar also had given his, we had some inputs through WhatsApps and all. We have a cordial thing. And I would like to tell the viewers here that just 3-4 days back received a message from Amit Kumar.
Okay.
Yeah, he was very emotional reading the book. He was told, I'm going through the Khandwa and the Bhagalpur chapters. So, all in all, everyone contributed.
Excellent. Tell us about Panditji and his association with Shiv Kumar Sharma, the famous association.
They were great friends, and both had one, what is it called, mission in life. See, both of them played instruments that were not considered mainstream. Flute is a shepherd's instrument. Pandit ji picked it up because he said उसमें ना leather है ना string है, वो weather से कुछ उसको असर नहीं होता है, सस्ता है और मैं पिलो के नीचे छुपा सकता हूँ. Because till he got a job in AIR radio, his father did not know he had even played for the President of India. He used to hide it under his pillow. So when he met, and the same thing was with Shiv Kumar Sharma, he wanted the Santur to take center stage. So they went to All India Radio and they said, we want to do some classical work, and they said, हमको मरवाओगे क्या? All India Radio बंद हो जाएगा if you put these two instruments in a classical music thing. But their friendship was a friendship that didn't need words. They loved the same food, they loved the same music, and they were, in fact, recently at the Jaipur Lit Fest, Panditji was sitting with us and answering questions, and someone said, Shivji ke baare mein kuch bataiye, and his eyes just filled up and he said, Ghaav ko mat kholo. You know, because the story of their friendship, which he has narrated in the book, is so tender, it is so clean, it is so wonderful, that it still hurts him very much. That sudden death of Shivji is a pain, you know, and you could see it, audience getting emotional when he said that.
Parthiv, tell us about Swami Vivekananda's association with the Kishore Kumar household.
Okay, that is also one of the highlight of the book, I believe. Like Kishore Kumar was known as a eccentric, maverick kind of a genius. But let me tell you, his father and his grandfather were no less than him. In fact, more. So, Swami Vivekananda, before his epoch-making trip to Chicago in 1893, dropped into Khandwa. Why Khandwa? Because they were a part of a secret society, the Masonics. this Pyari Ganguly is grandfather. So the Khandwa, Swami Vivekananda alighted in Khandwa and then went straight to the Ganguly. And my friends will know, and for those who do not know, Swami Vivekananda had a penchant for non-vegetarian food and a little bit of, which did not go well with Pyari Ganguly because it was taking a toll on his pockets. So one fine day in the morning, he just literally threw Swami Vivekananda out of the house.
Oh God. Huh.
And with the bag and baggage. And Swami Vivekananda had to take shelter in a house of Mr. Haridas Chatterjee. Haridas Chatterjee was mayor of Khandwa at that time. And he was the person who gave shelter. So Pyari Ganguly, in fact, was a member of the this Khandwa Municipal Corporation, and he was a big shot at that time. But then he could not digest Swami Vivekananda spending money on his behalf.
Oh,
so
excellent.
Yeah.
I'm sure audience has some few questions as well. So can we turn it over to the audience? I think that gentleman out there, I think he's the first one I saw putting the hand up. Okay, maybe you did, but I saw him first, but I'll come to you first. Next.
Thank you so much for this very heartful session. So I'm 21. People of our generation, either they have to be music lovers or practitioners, or they have to stumble upon some clips in order to really be mesmerized and be engaged into the 50s, 60s music. So for me, it was Madhubala. So now this becomes very interesting because I got to read a lot about the Madhubala Kishore Kumar equation, and then I started feeling really hostile towards Kishore Das' work because it started reminding me of what I read on internet. So that is why I stopped listening to all Kishore Das albums, and then except for Chalti Ka Naam Gaadi because Madhubala was there in it. So I'd like the authors to elaborate more on busting this myth of Kishore Das not being an available partner during the last days of Madhubala and her painful death. Because I've got the chance to quickly see the book. The index page has 9.
Okay, that's okay. I think what you should do is pick up the book. There's a very, very detailed, almost day by day walkthrough of what happened during Madhubala's illness. How he treated her, how he took care of her, right? I think it's very, very clear, and it dispels a lot of myths that people have held about the relationship. It's very interesting out there. Yeah. Okay, I'll go to this.
A story to tell you here.
Yeah. Sure. This gentleman out there, sir. Yes, sir. Mohan. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you very much. I have read the books of all Anirudha Bhattacharjee's books. This is a question which connects many of the books here. It's about the story of the Tere Mere Sapne song. Jeevan ki bagiya mehkegi. It is said that S.D. Burman was supposed to record the song with the entire band, and that entire band had actually gone to Chennai with R.D. Burman. And instead, S.D. Burman decided to use just Hari Prasad Chaurasia ji and Shiv Kumar Sharma ji and created that song with hardly any orchestra. Is that correct?
It's correct. And Shiv Kumar Sharma used to play the tabla those days. So he played the tabla in that song.
Oh, is that so? Yeah. And but Santur?
There is no.
There is Santur in that.
Played the tabla.
Shivji played this tabla in the song. Muse chal kiye jaye, like that's in guide.
In guide. No, in guide.
I stand corrected.
Like in this song, you do not have Maruti Rao. The Dalsheimer, the Santur, like it acts as the rhythm instrument. Ding, 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 like that.
And where were the musicians away playing in Madras? Which film?
They were recording for the film Lakhon Mein Ek for year. Yeah, like not exactly. Chanda O Chanda reminds me, we have a photograph of the recording of Chanda. I'll show you.
Yeah, meantime, we'll come to that photograph. Any other questions? This gentleman? Yes.
No, Mr. Balaji, since you, by a slip of the tongue or so, you were talking about S.G. Burman and Sahi's breakup, good or bad, I would like to know what happened.
Oh, lots happened.
Oh, it's in both our
Lots
books.
happened.
It was a very famous breakup. You have to read it.
It happened at Piazza, okay? And it left us Piazza thereafter because they never worked together after that. Because gist is that Sahir thought that the whole success of the music's album was because of his lyrics and not about S.D. Burman's music.
No,
that
and
was the
S.D.
gist of
Burman
it.
told Sahir कि लिखने वाला तो कुछ भी लिख देगा. Music is more difficult to the meter. So I must be paid 1 rupee more than the lyricist.
So to each his own, but it wasn't a very happy ending. But you can read about it in the book.
Clash of egos, so forget it.
Okay, next question. Yes, sir.
So did your perception of the main character change after writing the book?
Excellent question.
Did your perception of the central character change after you wrote the book in any of the cases?
No, actually I discovered them as I wrote the book. I did not know much because I don't go into the internet, I don't trust it. So I knew what I had heard or read in Filmfare or somewhere. So I knew their songs. So I went with that. And as for Abrar's book, it is all Abrar's telling behind the scene. The Guru Dutt book is exactly what happened behind the scene of every film.
Yeah.
So
I can add something. When we were writing the R.D. Burman book, before we wrote the book, we always sympathized with R.D. Burman for what he had to go through in the 80s, his fall, right? But when we started interviewing people, we realized that 50 or 60% of the problems that he had was just because of his own folly. His own strategic mistakes, the wrong associations he made, the fact that he let Sapan Chakravarti get into the team and get to get an upper hand, right? Upstaging people who had been loyalists. And then we realized that a bulk of the problems was his own doing. So our perception of the situation changed. Yeah. Next question.
Give Balaji an opportunity and he'd start talking about marketing and management.
In fact, I'm going to give him that opportunity. I was just thinking, how come O.P. Nair is not linked up with any of these singers? I mean, is there some sort of an interface in their lives and their stories where we can also get an insight across these geniuses who all face problems with authority, leadership at various stages, and then still survived, and their art still survives? Is there anything that...
He's here in this book. O.P. Nair comes in this book because of Mr. and Mrs. 55. And why O.P. Nair got in there and how S.D. Burman got in afterwards and continued to be, and why Hemant Kumar got in afterwards for Sahib Bibi Gulam, that is all there in this book. But I don't think he's there in the Kishore Kumar book.
Yeah, we have a fleeting mention of him. We did not mention the infamous story where O.P. said that he was not happy with Kishore's rendition of Savere Ka Suraj. On the flip side, I feel, I know my music quite well, that Kishore sang it extremely well.
Yeah. Savere Ka Suraj.
Savere ka suraj tumhare liye hai.
Yes, sir. Your question.
Regarding this O.P. Nair,
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Your question.
Sir, just a question. Since childhood, we have been Kishore Das fans. But when he used to sing for Amitabh Bachchan, the tone exactly used to match with him, as if Bachchan is singing in his own voice. But there is something went wrong between them, and he stopped singing for Bachchan. Could you elaborate something on that?
yeah, that's a famous story actually. He had a tiff which we have intentionally not mentioned in the book because the book was getting too heavy for that. It was related to a film called Mamta Ki Chhav Mein. Mamta Ki Chhav Mein was Kishore Kumar's last directorial movie, where he wanted Amitabh Bachchan to be a part of this movie. And he had sent Amit Kumar to go to Bachchan's house and asked for dates and something somewhere happened, but Bachchan kept him waiting on. That infuriated Kishore Kumar. And you see the result was movies like Mard, Coolie and those kind of movies. That was the consequence. And ultimately both of them patched up. Similar with Manmohan Singh. So a couple of, yeah. Now regarding O.P. Nair, sir, just wanted to share a small thing. O.P. Nair and Kishore Kumar was involved in one of the greatest innovations. That happened in the thing, Baap Re Baap. So what happened was that song, Piya Piya Jia Pukare. So Asha, in the movie you see, Asha was, when she was singing, she was singing the part which was meant to be for Kishore. So Kishore says, O.P. Nair says that let me retake it again. And Kishore says, don't worry, I am there, I will take care of it. So if you watch the movie carefully, you will see that Kishore Kumar shuts her mouth. So you don't say, let me continue from now. So that's a brilliant innovation actually.
Okay, now I have a question for the two authors. You are a debutant, okay, and it's a great debut. It's like an Azhar-like debut in the Hyderabad context. 3 tips for writing good, strong, engaging, interesting musical biographies. Over to you, Sathya and Anirudha.
Well, musical biographies, you must love the music, you must love the voice, you must love the creations,
take notes. And
then you must try and give it a new form. That's what I have done in my biographies. I have not gone, Sachin Dev Burman was born, he did this song. I've tried to make him come alive, to make the reader feel he is walking with Sachin Dev Burman from Taxi Driver to the next film, to Guide. What happens when Guide doesn't win an award? What happens what happens when Manna Dey doesn't get an award for Meri Surat Teri Aankhein? What does he go through? The pain he goes through. If you can keep the reader with you, you've recreated the man, you've recreated his genius. I think that's the way. So the research is one part, but the writing and the style and the format is as important.
Yeah. Or is the
Mine is slightly different in the sense that I was already sold on the subjects. Okay, these are subjects after my heart. My intent in this case, almost in all the cases, that we have a lot of oral history. Yeah, like stories which we do not know. Stories you get to hear from friends, colleagues, etc. I love to collect them, and then validate the same, and then ho sake to make that as one of the component, the stepping stones.
No, but don't get me wrong. I am sold on this. If you see the dedication in this, it is to my sister. It says to Nitya, because we sang all his songs as children.
Yeah.
So I know these people. It's just that you discover them as you go along, aspects of them.
Yeah. No, we can hear you.
Hello.
Now we can hear you.
So this is Uday Wagre. I'm from Hyderabad. So this question is related to all the authors. As you just about mentioned, a singer or an artist or a musician for that matter becomes a part of day-to-day life, becomes part of a family and generations together. That's the connect they have. So from that perspective, what would be S.D. Burman's legacy? What would be R.D. Burman's legacy? And who were book you wrote? Or Kishore Kumar's legacy for that matter?
It's extremely difficult to...
And very broad question. Actually, I can tell you that in these books, the legacy has been discussed in terms of S.D. Burman's legacy. Even in the first book, R.D. Burman's legacy.
Because if talking about S.D. Burman, for me, the earliest memory is about his extremely soulful rendition of songs. Pathos to Joy, the classical Bengali genre, and his Hindi I mean, transfusion to Hindi.
Let me tell you one story which might help answer your question.
Yeah.
I was at the staff college again in Nagpur, the income tax staff college, and I was giving a lecture, and at the end of it I said, I do stand-up programs on my books. So I have Jagjit Singh and I have S.D. Burman. Whom do you want? The whole younger generation of new staffers said, we want to do Jagjit Singh. But the faculty said, we want S.D. Burman. Okay, so faculty won, because नहीं तो mark नहीं मिलेगा. तो faculty बोला S.D. Burman, हमने S.D. Burman पे शुरू किया. All the young people मतलब they are all sales tax and income tax officers who are going into the world. They were all sitting with sad faces. Then I started showing the film clips. And I started playing the songs. The whole hall was humming. So they know the songs. Yeah. They don't know the man, which is why you need to write these books.
And that's why you need to read these books.
Yeah, that's why
these are not
to be
okay.
written.
I think we'll stop calling it musical biographies from here on. We'll call it storybooks. These are storybooks, just as interesting, just that they are not fiction. They come under the tag of non-fiction, but no less interesting, I guarantee that. Now, all these books are available out there for the authors to sign. So, take your pick. And,
I think Hariji is sold out. If you're lucky, you'll find a copy.
Yeah.
And for Hariji, I have his rubber stamp signature.
Excellent.
He has given it to me because he has Parkinson's. He doesn't sign. He uses a rubber stamp. That I have.
And my handwriting is just like Kishore Kumar's. So you can expect a Kishorized signature from me.
Big thanks to all the panelists.
चलते चलते सुनना है.
Slightly uncommon song. सपनों के शहर.
सपनों के शहर. ये कह रहा है सपनों के शहर.
हैदराबाद.
सपनों के शहर हम बनाएंगे घर पल भर में ये बना ये गिरा सपनों के शहर हम बनाएंगे घर पल भर में ये बना ये गिरा ta 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 ta. Thank you everybody.
Thank you for being here.
Authors now deserve a strong cup of tea
or coffee, whatever. Thank you.
And we need to sign books.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Balaji.